Trump to go from carrot to stick in dealing with Putin. No empire could wipe out Ukraine, and Russia won't succeed. And how unknown drone halts airport operations in Norway. The latest news next. Ukraine has outlived everyone who wanted to destroy it, and it will withstand Russia as well, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said at the oath-taking ceremony of Lyceum students and the presentation of state awards on the occasion of the Defenders' Day.
Every attempt, every one, to subjugate Ukraine ended only with Ukraine being reborn. All attempts to erase Ukraine and Ukrainians ended with hostile empires crumbling.
Zelenskyy noted that Ukraine has survived not only individual aggressors, but also everyone who tried to destroy the nation.
Ukraine will withstand now as well against this Russia. Without a doubt it will. We will definitely defend our state.
He added that Ukrainians are now defending themselves at the longest range, the most effectively, and the main goal is to ensure freedom for future generations.
So that our children, all future generations are guaranteed to be free from war, from terror, from strikes, from any threat.
The president also emphasized that Ukraine will not lose its acquired strength and the support of its partners. Indeed, global support, which Ukraine so lacked in the past, and Ukraine will always need precisely such people as you, our defenders, Zelenskyy said. In the near future, the Russian army will continue to focus its efforts on two directions, Pokrovsk and Dobropilya, according to Major General Andriy Ignatov, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in an interview with Ukrinform. Current situation. According to him, the situation in the areas of hostilities remains difficult. The enemy continues to actively assault the positions of our forces in the main directions, creating a 5- to 6-fold superiority in force and equipment.
The enemy is conducting offensive actions along the entire line of contact in 13 main operational directions, with an average intensity of 160 to 190 assaults per day.
He noted that the most tense situation remains in eastern Ukraine. There, the enemy has a significant advantage in terms of workforce and equipment, and with the support of aviation, artillery, and the extensive use of strike UAVs, is conducting high-intensity offensive operations. The enemy is trying to establish complete control over the settlements of Chasiv Yar and Toretsk, create conditions to block Konstantinivka from the east, south, and west, and encircle the Pokrovsk-Mirnograd agglomeration.
It should be noted that at present the enemy is trying to widely use the tactic of infiltrating small groups into the rear areas of our forces, with their subsequent buildup and the development of the offensive in our rear.
Ukrainian counteroffensive. At the same time, the defense forces under favorable conditions are conducting assault operations aimed at restoring lost positions, as well as searching for and destroying enemy forces that have infiltrated the rear areas of our defenses.
In general, despite significant losses in personnel, weapons, and military equipment, the enemy does not abandon its offensive actions. The course of events in the main direction, namely Pokrovsk, will determine the nature of the enemy's actions in other directions, in particular in Zaporizhzhia.
He also added that the situation at the front is affected by the weather, as precipitation will significantly reduce the possibility of the terrain and accordingly the maneuverability of the troops. Russian offensive. NATO said that there is a high probability that the Russians will continue to pursue their objectives in the offensive operation.
The goal they declared, I remind you, was stated as follows: the complete liberation of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. From our point of view, this means an attempt to reach the administrative borders of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions and fully occupy the entire territory.
Currently, it can be predicted that the Russians will continue to focus their efforts specifically on two directions, Pokrovsk and Dobropilya. Earlier, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, stated that Ukrainian forces had achieved successes in the Dobropilya direction and had encircled part of the enemy's units. Syrsky also stated that the enemy has used and continues to use in the Dobropilya direction and in the Novopavlivka direction the so-called thousand carts tactic. It involves the simultaneous use of large number of small assault groups 4 to 6 service members who advance using the terrain, ravines and tree lines with the main task of penetrating as deeply as possible into our territory. Finnish President Alexander Stubb believes that his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump will increase pressure on Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, shifting from a policy of using a carrot to using a stick, reported by Stubb speaking to Politico and several other outlets in Helsinki. Stubb believes it is only a matter of time before the United States hits Putin where it really hurts. He said, having seen that carrots rarely work with the Russians, he has moved to the stick stage. Now it's just a question of how big the stick is going to be, he added. This assessment contrasts with the skepticism prevailing in some European capitals, where Trump's public criticism of Putin has been dismissed as empty rhetoric. However, Stubb, who has built a personal connection with the US president thanks to their shared love of golf, has greater credibility in interpreting Trump's intentions. When asked what exactly the stick for Putin might be, he joked that it could be a driver, hinting that Trump has many tools of influence at his disposal. President Trump is working, if not around the clock, then every day with trying to end the war. He has 14 clubs in his bag, Stubb said. Among the possible options being considered are tougher sanctions, including secondary ones, higher tariffs, and even more active use of American weapons capable of striking deep into Russian territory.
You don't have to read The Art of the Deal to understand the way in which President Trump negotiates. It's unconventional, but it is quite results-oriented.
He warned that if Putin continues killing civilians in Ukraine after the meeting with Trump in Alaska on the 15th of August, the US president will be forced to respond harshly. Calling himself a realistic optimist, Stubb urged the Ukrainian supporters to be patient.
I have had the possibility to work with President Trump quite closely over the past few months. Perhaps optimism is sometimes an intuition, but I think the facts on the ground right now speak that we are going in a better direction.
As for Europe's role in supporting Kiev, Stubb strongly backed steps aimed at accelerating Ukraine's EU accession by finding a way around the veto of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban.
Any decision-making mechanism which gives more flexibility and less possibility to block I personally welcome, and never more so than with Ukraine. I always say, never underestimate the capacity of the lawyers of both the European Commission and the Council to find creative solutions in these kinds of situations. Ukraine's membership of the European Union is of strategic importance. The sooner it happens, the better.
An unidentified drone was detected flying over the airport in the Norwegian city of Brønnøysund, NRK reports. Unidentified drones in the airport area were detected by air traffic control staff on Tuesday, September 30th. The police responded to the call and began searching for the pilot, but were unable to locate them. Quote, "We observed the drone in the air but could not identify the pilot operating it. After some time searching, we concluded the operation at the scene," said Morten Sorensen, a representative of the Nordland Police District. In addition, drones were observed in the no-flying zone near the airport on the evening of Sunday, September 28th. At the time, one wide-row aircraft was diverted from Brønnøysund Airport to another airfield. Caroline Persson, spokesperson for Avinor, which operates Norwegian airports, stated that despite the incident, the last flight landed as scheduled. The airport will resume operations on the morning of October 1st. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.